enjoy this segment. Meet the artist. Sego.
Eric Sego, you can wave at him if you want to.
What's up, everybody?
Screen right here, because we're gonna meet the artist is what we're doing.
Cool.
We're meeting the dang artist.
We're here to talk about Mr. Sego.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
So
do it.
Sego.
Sego.
What's up with Sego?
What's my name?
Where did you get it at?
Is that stage name or is that your?
No, I was born with this name, Sego.
It's on your birth certificate.
But then I say stop and Sego, and we gonna get the heck up out of here. We all trying to go
That's what
somewhere.
I
I got
thought.
you.
about.
I
That's what I'm
got
talking
you.
about.
I got
So
you.
was that an original song?
Yes, that was tipping around town from the forthcoming album Love's Hangover. So that's one of the ones that you will hear as a single later on this year.
What was your inspiration for that one?
Experience.
Tipping around town.
Tipping around town.
I wasn't tipping around town. She was tipping around.
I got you.
town.
I got you. That's
Right.
what's up. That's what's
You know,
up.
a lot of the music that you'll find on the Love's Hangover album is every man move good and bad, things that we kind of experienced or things that we just really don't talk about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna come out in the music with this album, so it's been a labor of love for a while now.
Labor of love for a quick minute.
Yeah,
How long have you been? You've been recording, working as an artist.
it's been
Is this your
ongoing
first project?
for a while. This isn't the first artist. This is the first artist under this genre. I feel like I've been singing my whole life, so now it's an opportunity for me to kind of just launch out with a project that's a genre very specific to what it is I really want to do.
And so,
Speak about the journey, what you mean.
Well, the journey was a little different for me. I grew up in the church, so a lot of my experiences with music came through gospel and Christian music, and that was
Okay.
something I did very young. Faith hasn't changed, genre has just changed. And blues
Understood.
has always been a passion of mine because growing up, that's what we were hearing on Saturday mornings when we were cleaning the house. So,
Yeah.
so I've been exposed to a lot of artists throughout the years who've influenced even this particular album. Like you'll hear certain nuances in the project that remind me of people like Bill Withers, or remind me of people like Prince, or remind me of people like Bobby Womack. all of the artists that I feel most influenced by that I'd like to be able to walk in their shoes on somebody's Hall of Fame.
I've known you for a few minutes,
Yeah.
and I've heard you sing several times, and you've got a unique sound that's to you, and we've heard us talk about it. Well, that song, that was a country song. That's a rock. Well, there's some blues in there. Or there's, oh my gosh, there's some Motown, rising up out of there. But how do you pinpoint a genre? I mean, what do you consider yourself?
Now you don't really have to pinpoint a genre. Right now, just enjoy the art. Create art for art's sake.
Good music.
Yeah, I think that's what not only the industry wants, but the consumer wants, and people who just love art. Like, they want to hear where you're coming from and where you're going to take us next.
Yeah.
So it's always ongoing to be writing and trying to make decisions about whether this is what's relevant now to me or whether this will be relevant to somebody who's out there listening on radio.
Gotcha.
That makes sense. So, what do you see what's your crystal ball tell you about Sego in the near future?
Bigger and better things.
Bigger
I think
and
2020 has been a year of already starting out.
Are we crossing fingers, pinching salt?
Yeah.
Looking for the right pennies with the head side up, doing all them things,
Pretty
touching
much.
all the bases. Is that how we're doing that?
Yeah, because now everything, they always say hindsight is 2020, and I've learned a lot of lessons going into this project. Even the art of being patient. That's as much as being an artist, writing songs. You don't just go sing a song and get a Grammy. You got to put in the work. You got to put the hustle and grind in, and then you still got to live your everyday life.
So I like to refer to moments that we of realization. I call them aha moments, and I was like, oh, aha. What would you say was probably your either if you could pinpoint one aha moment? What would be probably the largest one or the most meaningful one, or however you want to spin that for you?
Greatest aha moment.
Through this music process.
If I had to say I had a great aha moment, I would say that this is harder than I thought it would be.
I realized what I was getting into.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's pretty much what it is.
Right. And because it occupies your sleep,
time.
it occupies your lack of sleep, it occupies your eating habits.
It does.
And everything else. But so we're not just going to catch Sego on a live broadcast somewhere. We're going to find Sego in other places too, aren't we?
Yeah,
Eventually?
definitely. We're working tightly together, me and a team of people who are trying to make sure that we get this music out there this year. So I have a great band that I would like for everybody to know. It's a whole group of women, which is a phenomenal concept.
Women musicians.
Women musicians. Everything from horns to keys to guitar, and they're pretty kick-ass.
What you say?
So I'm excited about them. As one of the band leaders, my band leader, she's really instrumental in helping me see the greater focus. It's like a Sheila E. Prince kind of melding together. So
Gotcha.
I hope to be able to bring those ladies out on stage with me very soon and have some things popping in Montgomery and abroad.
Okay, that's what's up.
Right.
Do you play yourself?
No,
That's
I
right.
ping. I don't play.
Okay. Gotcha.
I definitely sing, but I only ping when it comes to musicianship on guitars. I've been exposed to like horns and guitars as far as playing those instruments, but I never say I'm the greatest or I'm the musician.
Ping, I get you.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So I got one more question for you real quick. While we have a few minutes, this is a new show, as you well know, and you are our debut artist. On
First artist, meet the artist, yeah.
But with that said, one of our segments is Meet the Artist, which we're meeting you, and we're also doing a segment called Alabama Talk.
Okay.
And if you have a few minutes, you might hang out just for a couple of minutes and
Sure.
do a little bit of
Be
Alabama
a part
Talk.
of Alabama Talk.
And then we'll kind of move on from there.
Right.
But so allow us to do some cinematography here by transitioning over to Okay, now we're tracking. Alabama Talk. Call in 334-245-3517. We're here for you. If you got a question, Anthony will answer it. If you have another question, Sage will answer it, and I'll sit here and look pretty.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Not a problem. So let's get this thing rolling, man.
Yeah,
So what you got on your mind, Anthony?
I don't know. I mean, topic around Alabama. First thing that we talk about. I mean, what's number one?
Education.
Education.
I hear a lot of talk about education.
Yeah, that's a big topic. That's a big topic. I mean, education. Would you say charter schools versus public education?
Well,
Kinda.
you know, I mean, what are the big schools here in Montgomery? You got Montgomery Academy. Then then you got St. John's.
Private school.
Those are probably the top two private schools.
Private school.
Montgomery
Yeah.
Catholic.
Yeah.
And then we have our public
Alabama
schools.
Christian, and then you got JD.
Yeah. That goes to your public schools.
Yeah, Lee.
Now, see, I went to public school.
Yeah.
As a matter
Graduated
of fact,
Carver. Yeah.
fact, I moved to Montgomery when I was in high school. I graduated from Sidney Lanier is where I graduated from.
Okay.
So I got a public school education. You guys?
Graduated from Carver Senior High, class of '94.
Class of '94. How about that? How about you, Stego? He was born Ivy League. He was born Ivy League.
Not quite, but I've seen both sides of quality of education. I went to public school and I did go to private military academy too. So
Okay.
I kind of saw both sides of education.
Well, my education did start off in private school. I did Zelda Stevens Early Childhood program over at Alabama State.
Okay.
So I started my elementary education there. Then I transitioned to Montgomery Public School.
Okay.
Yeah,
So did you get a quality education in the public system?
Yeah, I mean, I really think we had great teachers. It's all about how you apply yourself. I mean,
Well, see, I moved from Enterprise, Alabama, which, you know, if you don't know, that's, you know, South Alabama, and I was right outside of Fort Rucker. It was, as far as ranking in the state, it ranked pretty high in the state, for education, however they scale that, and it was a difficult school because when I moved to Montgomery, it was very different. I could see a very staunch difference between scholastically what I was learning versus not learning or what have you. Of course, Sidney Lanier was a much bigger school than Enterprise High School was, but I attribute that to Fort Rucker because there's a lot of military brats there, and that they've traveled the world, they've gone to a lot of different schools already. I think that's given them an edge. Where somebody that has been locked down to the same town and the same school system their entire life.
Yeah, I mean,
it's their life experience is a little bit more. I think it, makes things. I don't know.
A desire to learn. I mean, wanting to learn. I think that's the biggest thing when you being able to be in different experiences, different ways of learning, that makes you want to learn. At least open up that door, but opposed to only being stuck with one type of educational training, one type of routine. Once you get tired of that, I mean, you kind of lose interest.
Well, schools seem to be a lot more violent these days.
Yeah, the times we're living in kind of dictate.
I don't live too far from a high school from where I live, and I've seen them shut down a couple of times because of incidences or what have you.
Yeah.
And that's something I never saw in the whole time I was in school.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's the problem? Is it the teachers? Is it the students? Is it the parents? Is it the system?
It's all the above. If you think about it.
You think it's a mixture of all the above?
Yeah. It depends on.
I definitely think I would classify it as a cultural issue. I think it started becoming cultural. Anything that we do on a long-term basis, it kind of ends up becoming part of us and part of our culture. Whether we choose it or not, it's just kind of the way it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think culturally, we've kind of done that to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, when you have violence in the home, that tends to spill out. Yeah. So if you got violence in the home, of course, my next place is at school. That's going to transition over to school. And you want to know why you have violence in school? Because there's a lot of violence in the home.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, you're probably going to get mad at me for this, and guess what? I don't care. But I'm going to say it like this.
Straight talk.
I hear a lot of people talk about, there's not a man in my life, there's not a man in my child's life, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I push back on that, because I think historically, let's look at men and women. Historically, there was a time when men would leave and they would go hunt and they would be gone for long periods of time. So somebody was teaching the kids, somebody was raising the kids, somebody was teaching these people to be leaders coming up. Now here comes Dad, who's been off for a couple of months or whatever. Returning now, he does his dad role when he returns and does what he does. You know, that's contribution to that moment. But really, it was single moms raising.
Well, I mean, maybe in some cultures,
But I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm pushing back the clock.
Okay. Well, what about the uncles and the
who are too old or too or physically unable to
go hunting, so they still stayed there. I mean, maybe
So
they
there's an
provided that.
influence,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And that's the difference with now. I mean, not a lot of uncles stepping up, not a lot of neighbors.
There's no male influence.
I mean, a lot of parents are significantly younger and less experienced with probably old school training, which I think a lot of us can value. You knew certain things. Like I grew up in an era of you be in when the street light is on. Now there's a lot of younger people out there that are pretty much doing what they want and raising themselves beyond just being a latchkey kid. Like they're not just going in the house; they're running the household.
True.
Well, me, my household, I survived by being afraid to die. It was either do what you're told or die. So the choices were slim. But I wasn't a latchkey kid. But from the time I woke up till the time I had to be back in, I was outside. It was the safest place, really, to be honest with you. But education, high school, I didn't go directly to college. It's probably a good thing I didn't. My family was going through a lot during those times too. But I think Alabama provided me with a quality education. At those moments, I said, "How in the world could I have learned anything?" I missed so much school, and how did I? You know what I mean? And then college, I would have wasted it at that time because I went in the Army and then I did college.
It was something that you didn't want to do.
Yeah, and it paid off. So now I look back, and even during that time, I'm like, how the heck do I even know this? Where did I even learn? I don't remember learning. I don't remember paying that much attention in school to know how to do this arithmetic that I'm doing now. Where did that come from? Did it just sink in or
from experiences? I mean, life experience you went through. It was time that you had to learn had to use some type of algebra or some type of trigonometry to understand just the everyday problem that you have. You didn't know that was algebra that you was doing. Well, solving a problem without all the factors there. The example of that. But life experiences, it taught you to make adjustments, to keep going.
Well, let's move on from education for a minute. What else is near and dear in the social lives
of Alabamians?
Or even the Gumpians, specifically. What do you hear on the street?
It's a big thing about crime. That's number one talk.
And you know where I live, because we're in my house, we're home right now. But for me, a lot of my friends that I know that live outside of Montgomery or whatever, they're like, "Oh, so where do you live?" And I tell them, "Oh my God, you live in Montgomery? You live in where in Montgomery? Is it bad? I mean, what do you have? You have problems?" And they're very afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid, and they're afraid for me. I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about?" I've lived here for a little over 2 years now in this neighborhood, and I've had zero issue. I've had zero issue. I've heard about other people
stuff going on,
but I've never seen it. I live in Capitol Heights, and they have a website where neighbors can update what's going on in their neighborhood, but via website. How cool is that? It's just like stalkers don't hide in bushes anymore. They just send their drone. They don't even have to leave the house to stalk. And now we don't have to do a neighborhood watch. We can sit at home in a recliner and tweet it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Personally, I'm not affected, but I'm gonna say this on clean it up. I'm not affected by crime.
Have you haven't experienced any crime in your house? Nobody tried to break in your house. No crime.
No, not unless Sago doesn't show up properly dressed. That's criminal.
That was coming.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean, I personally no. Now, 2 doors up. She's a retired. I can't remember what it was. Some type of professor. Like physics. Something deep and learned.
Gotcha.
And she was gone for this, for like a month or so during the summertime, and it didn't take no time for her door to get kicked in, and ransacked 3 or 4 or 5 times within about a 2-week spread.
Yeah.
And that was 2 doors up. They attribute that to somebody who knew that she was going to be out of town. Whatever, it don't matter. But that was just 2 doors up. 3 doors down on the other side of the street. It's quite. For a while, I thought it was a disco show in the front yard, but it wasn't. It was the police showing up.
So you haven't experienced crime, but your neighbors have experienced it.
Well,
so I mean, that's crime. That's crime in this area.
Yeah, and that's why I said it the way I did, because did it affect me directly? No, not directly. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't. But that's probably not true. Because maybe now I pay a little bit more attention, maybe, whereas I would have left this laying around or done this a little differently. I've finished building the fence on that side, or little things like that. So I guess in some shape, form, or fashion, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. But my experience is going to be different from your experience.
Yeah,
you're in a different part of Montgomery.
Man, Ridgecrest, man.
Yeah, Ridgecrest.
Ridgecrest.
I like old Ridgecrest, man. Yeah. There's some swag to old Ridgecrest over there. Yeah. But but what do you do?
Sometimes you, in the words, sometimes you just got to learn to be immune to certain things.
You have to learn to be immune. So that means what is immune? Is that just ignoring it, pretending it's not there?
Yeah, immune is a way of not letting it affect you. Sometimes you may have to ignore
That's
it.
conditioning.
Well, I mean...
Does that come from... in my mind, I would think that would come from conditioning. That would have taken some time to be able to learn, the ability to be able to suppress that.
Unless you had somebody to give you advice, but yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, what that leads me to believe next, because, here I am. I'm like, I'm looking at all... I'm listening to nuts and bolts of this thing. That means it's elevated. That means you've got a lot of experience ignoring it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's something that you have to deal with daily.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, that's my experience. I give you straight talk. It's straight talk.
This happens the name of the show, man. That's straight talk.
Yeah,
No ice.
Yeah, when you're dealing with crime, and I guess that goes into the definition of what is crime. And somebody breaking the law, is that crime, or that's a good universal definition? People break the law in Ridgecrest. I see it.
Right.
Daily. It's like, that's a law that's broken. That's a law that's broken.
He just broke the law. Does that affect the crime rate?
Some
people are going to pull those kind of stats just because it bolsters their whatever their position is against or for.
And I guess well, that goes into, we're talking about what type of crime. Violent crime. That's what people are. Jaywalking is not a violent crime. It's a crime, but it's not a violent crime. And a lot of people may be scared of violent crime. That's something that affects you. Violence that affects the human condition.
I've had clients that have had to meet me. They're coming from outside of Montgomery, and they get lost. Or, not lost, but they miss a few turns or trying to find out where I'm at. And they're like, oh my gosh, they're like, you can hear the panic in their voice. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be lost in Montgomery. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm missing it, I guess. I believe that there's a lot of fear preaching. You know what I mean? There's a lot of. To me, it almost seems like we get behind the bullhorn and we're like, it's criminal and it's very dangerous over here. Yeah. Please watch your children and be very careful and mindful of your surroundings. And people that hear that in the distance, they go, You know what I mean? Now they have a preconceived notion of how everything is going to be when they enter into the danger zone.
I agree.
And then I think psychologically, what you see in every day breaking the law, it becomes, well, this is what people kind of, they don't think it directly like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of what people are expecting of, so it becomes culture again. It almost becomes a way of life.
True.
I mean, but how is that good? But how do you change that? Do you change it, or you just roll with the punches?
You have to. I mean, culture changes. I mean, that's.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's culture. But how do you? I mean, are you happy?
How do you make a culture
living that way? If you're not content, if you're not happy living that, well, how do you create change in something like that?
Well, I mean, me personally, I mean, that's the reason I created Urban Dream Fine Arts Center. I mean, that truly is a place to kind of get away from that mindset of crime and violence and that sort of thing.
For people.
It's a different reality.
Yeah.
In order for you not to think that, oh, this is so bad, this is messed up. Hey, I'll give you a different option. Look at it a different way. That's just, you ask, what can you do to make culture changes? I mean, do things like that. I mean, create space and create different mindsets.
So does that create a grid off area of the danger map, and everybody goes, okay, now it's part of our culture. This is the safe area.
No,
but everything else just continues as normal or progresses to get worse. I mean, do you think it has an actual impact on the situation as a whole?
I hope that it is. You know what I mean?
That's kind of hard to judge yourself of.
And that's what maybe over time it would show. I mean, but I think our location right there on Front Street. I mean, if you frequent the Ridgecrest area, I mean, you should see a difference in what Urban Dream has done just in a short period of time. I know what I have seen. Not saying it's done a whole bunch, but I mean, I like to think that I've created some type of change.
I'm going to say this, and then I'll worry about cleaning it up afterwards.
Well, cool. Straight talk.
Straight talk.
No ice, man. No ice.
And I'm a devil's advocate of this thing. I don't think. Look, I'm tired of the prejudice conversations. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of hearing all that. Whatever. Okay. Message clear. Message received. I'm doing what I can. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what you can. We bridge those gaps the best we can. But I'm not doing anything to help your community out. You know what I mean? I'm going to take a long way around the mulberry bush before I go down South Court Street. I'm speaking for the masses.
Okay.
And is that? I mean, are they wrong for feeling that way or thinking that way? Like I will drive around Montgomery to go to Troy before I drive through it.
Straight through it.
You know what I mean? Would I be wrong for feeling that way?
No, not wrong.
You don't think so?
Not for feeling that way. I mean, it's cultural conditioning, like what people grow up experiencing. I think that's just how. Let's say Ridgecrest, you know what streets you can walk down if you don't have an issue. You probably know a lot of people over there, like, what's up, partner, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know a neighborhood and you go there, then you could possibly be, to some degree, alarmed by something you see that might be commonplace for something that you see.
Well, here's the conditioning on the flip side. From a white person's neighborhood, if something goes down over there, guess what? The troops are rallying. We're pulling out our Second Amendment right, and we're pulling out every gun we got, and we're coming over to our neighbor's aid. You know what I mean? And we're going to stir it up until it's stirred up and put down. You know what I mean? Do you have that same kind of thing on your street?
So,
But it's different though.
Yeah.
It's different. So now you take me off of my cul-de-sac in the suburbs and put me over here, and I'm out of my element. I can't call Billy Bob, who's down there riding his, working on his tractor. Hey, I don't know his car, I don't know his people, I don't know, I'm coming. Him, his grandkids, his dogs, his cats, and everybody's coming. So all I'm doing is putting contrast on that.
I get you.
And it just the way of thinking. I don't know. I just I wish people would we talk about getting out of our shell. Just take adventures, take chances.
Wander.
Wander around a little bit. A conversation never killed anybody.
True.
That's
I agree.
A conversation never killed anybody. You know, so I don't know. Experience some of those things, and maybe some of those we can take the edge off, if you will, and it won't be so, you know, minute. I don't know. I just I think there's definitely some things that could be done differently. But I don't have the energy to fly that flag with my doggone self.
Yeah.
I mean, I got kids, you know, people have kids. I don't have time to go over there and be marching and doing rallies and community feel goods every 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
So I guess the question would be, what can be done to reshape the culture? Reshape a culture.
A lot of people think? Let them have it. Let them have it. And when they're done, we'll sweep up the mess and build something new. I think that's what
mindset. Yeah, a mindset.
I think that's how some people feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Whether they say it with their mouth or not, but I think
I agree with that. I mean, yeah. I mean, that immune thing. Some things you just gotta let it.
You and I have had this conversation plenty of times. I'm gonna say it right here on live broadcasting. Guess what? I go downtown. I'm a photographer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I go downtown. I can, man, dude. I haul some gear. You hear me?
Yeah.
I don't care what time
I've heard
of day.
the story before.
I don't care what time of night it is. I'll go at 3:00 in the morning. I'll go if the bug hits me and the lighting in this area, I'm not gonna be able to get it until a certain time. I'm gonna go there. And some members of my family are like, "Oh, please, Emery, tell me you don't go downtown late at night." Well, does wee hours of the morning count as late at night? Hell yeah, I go down there at the time. Oh my God, you know what? I'm white. It is perfectly safe in downtown Montgomery. I'm carrying gimbals. I'm carrying all kind of stuff. I look like, and I'm looking at buildings.
Yep.
So you know, what's some people's first thought? What's he sizing this place up for?
Yep.
You know, no, not me down there.
They
don't know.
let you go.
They just let me go. I've never been stopped one single time, or even a brake pump. What's he doing? It's not even a brake pump. Now I'm gonna take all my gear, my backpack, my cameras, my leashes, my gimbal, and everything. I'm gonna hand it to you.
Let me do it.
Bye. Let me stand back and watch. I'm gonna tell you. You don't have the answer, but I'm gonna tell you right now. It's gonna happen.
Hey.
Going on over here.
Yeah.
You know, then we start having them. Stop and talks, you know, and all that kind of crap. Well, why? You know?
Because, hey, I got on the black hood, huh?
You scaring me, man. You scaring me.
Nah.
But, you know, look, I'm just telling the truth, people. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't really care. That's not the point. The point is that from my experience, outside looking in, that's my experience. That's how I've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, and
is
it
true.
right? I'm not saying it's right.
I mean, truly, just last night, me and a partner of mine, we went in the jam. We like to play. He got off work late. It was about 11, 12 o'clock. So by the time we got back to the building at Court Street, it was 12:30, going almost on 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. But we just go on the jam because, I mean, we like to play. Yeah. But I promise you, as we were pulling up and parking, police were coming down the street. Why he veered off and went in the shopping center parking lot, waited till we got out, went in, and he still parked there. And we went in and started jamming and playing, and that's when he rolled out. Okay. I mean, that's a true experience.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Everybody's experiences are going to be different.
Yeah.
They just, from whether it's racial difference or just growing up in a city like this where both of you all who have been here a long time still had two different experiences, but were probably here around the same era. It's just what it is.
Yeah. But how is, do you like that experience?
Hell yeah, I like it.
I feel you. I mean, hey,
I'm just telling you, know what I'm saying?
Hey, I get you.
But you know what? I'll call you when I'm done. Don't come down there when I'm trying to do stuff, you all right? Because you might mess me up.
I got you. Straight talk.
Yes, no, but for real, I don't, look, you know, the bottom line is you got to know your rights. And I'll tell you something.
True.
I'll push if it's not right, and I'm gonna push back, and not disrespectfully. You get a lot further, you know, when you're respectful and you talk to people like you want to be talked to, all that kind of non-confrontation, all that kind of good stuff. You know, I'm gonna push, but you need to know your rights.
True.
And if you don't know them, don't just Google them, because you're gonna find out all kind of junk on there and you just Google it.
I agree.
But you need to know, man, because when you have those interactions, because here's the thing, you know, it just fires me up because my dad and I had a discussion one day, and do you remember they were talking about the cameras and smart TVs and the NSA Big Brother watching this?
Looking at you.
My dad was like, I don't care. NSA's watching me sit around in my underwear watching TV. It's going to be a boring show for them to be watching. And I'm like, but Dad, that's not the point. You know, it's the fact that they're doing it. He said, well, I don't care if they, what are they going to say? I'm not doing anything wrong. Why should I be afraid of them peeking on me if I'm not doing anything wrong? I said, that's not the point. What happens is, remember we talked about that cultural thing. When you give up that right to have your privacy like that, and you're basically over time you're telling them, you can peek if you want to. I may not be doing anything wrong. You can peek if you want to. So now it becomes cultural. Now we start when we bump heads on it, we start to feel, we can't push back on that because they're allowed to do that. You know, you know what I'm saying? Because we've been conditioned to feel that way and think that way. And I think that's how law enforcement sometimes inches back power. You know what I'm saying? We begin to feel like, I have to present. I'm a passenger in this vehicle, and he wants to ID me. I have to give him my ID because he has no. You know, but you're going to feel like you have to, or you're going to go to jail.
I get you.
You know,
true.
You see what I'm saying? So we get conditioned that way. I said, but you don't understand. We're going to be goose stepping, and the police are going to be militarized if we just let it go like that. You know, it's up to us to say no. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. You know, and we may, you know, our rights may be, you know, damaged through that process. But, you know, are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of that for the betterment of everybody else? You know what I mean? We have to be willing to, you know, to experience that too, you know, because if we don't, all they're going to do, and they're not doing, some of them aren't doing it on purpose, but they're smart enough to know that just take a little bit now. Just take a little bit now. And then we give it up a little bit now. But guess what? That little bit adds up.
Excuse me.
You put a pot underneath that sink that's dripping.
Yeah, I agree.
Pot
to fill up.
So my thing was, no, push back now. They don't need to be watching me on my. I don't care if I'm sleeping. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You know, it ain't none of their damn business. It's my house. I do what I want to in the confines of my own home. I ain't bothering my neighbor. But that humming noise from listening on my TV and tapping my phones is making me nervous. You know. But anyhow,
it's straight talk, Alabama talk.
But I don't know, folks. What do you think? You know,
do we have a call in? The callers coming in?
No,
I guess we'll get some after a while.
Yeah, you never can tell. But I'm going to move over to mute this because we'll hear it twice. There we go. Okay. Melissa, thank you for calling in. Crystal, you as well. Yeah, sorry about that audio a little bit earlier. We got that fixed, I believe. But we appreciate you for real. Thanks for coming out. So yeah, I think we kind of beat that horse to death. What do you think?
How was Alabama talk?
Hey, I tell you what. How about we cut the intermission for a moment, and then we'll come back in just a couple of minutes. All right, folks. Hey, I'm Emery.
I'm Anthony.
And this is
Straight talk. No ice, no chase.
No ice, no chase. We're going to be chasing ourselves right off of this thing right here, though. This is what we call a transition, Anthony. welcome back to a Straight Talk. I'm
No.
Emery.
I'm Anthony.
And this is Round Table. I mean, Round Table. This is Square Table.
Square Table.
This is going to go around the world.
Around the world. Next segment.
Yeah. Next segment. So what's Round the World?
Around the world. That's the segment where we talk about, topics that's kind of buzzing around the world.
Well, some of that buzz can be handled through the telephone lines.
True.
And as they will see there on the screen, there's a phone number posted. If you want to get in on this conversation, if you have something to say, or you have a question, or you have a disagreement, pick up that phone and dial it right now. 334-245-3517.
So, topic. What's
Well, you
a
already
topic
know
that's all the way around?
You already know what's going to come up there right off the kick.
Off the bat. What
Go ahead and bring
everybody's
it up.
talking about.
Go ahead and bring it up.
We're talking about Kobe Bryant.
Kobe who?
Kobe Bryant.
Oh, right.
Kobe Bryant. You know Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
Have you heard of him? Do you know who he is?
There's been a lot of talk about him lately, and what goes up must come down.
Hey.
Just saying, but you know what? It brings life back to realism, because because sometimes these people like that, they're going to live forever. They're going to be icons for forever.
True.
And it's like we don't like actually think that way, but I think a part of us is they're kind of surreal. They're above crashing in planes or wrecking in cars or and,
everyday stuff.
Everyday stuff. Because they're not everyday people.
The mortal life. Mortal life. Yeah.
But there was no rebounding from that one.
No,
pun,
that was
pun and slightly intended.
I get you. Hey, straight talk. But from your perspective, what do you think why do you think everybody's talking about Kobe? Why is he a subject in the news now?
Because he's a household name already.
Household name.
Look, I've never followed.
Well, are you a basketball fan? Are you a sports fan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a Southern nut about it. I can.
Who won the NBA championship
I have
last
no
year?
idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
If I knew that, I would probably. Dang it! How come I knew that? But
I don't know either.
yeah, I don't keep up. And it's not. I'm not taking away from sports. I know you guys got money on the game, whatever. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I just got more important things to do than worry about some guys running around on the field competitively. You know what I mean? Is there value in it? Yes.
Yeah.
There is.
There is.
There is for real. But for me, I got too many other things that I want to do or that take my interest much easier than
think about a sport.
That,
Yeah.
Because we can be nutty about it down here.
Yeah, we are real fans in Alabama.
Oh, right.
Around the world. We're speaking around the world. Around the world, there are a lot of fans.
There are a lot of fans. There's football fans and there's football fans.
Yeah.
And they're fanatical. They're fanatical fans. They will tear down stadiums over
their team, their player,
and they will hit the ground and cry like a little beep.
Why is that?
I don't know. They're little heifers.
Look at you.
I don't know. It's a strategy, because when they lay on the ground, oh my God, and you're like, dude, I breathed on you. Why is your ankle hurting? Because I breathed on you.
Yeah.
They're buying time so their teammates can catch a breath, or
True.
maneuver on the field a little bit more, and they're grandstanding for much bigger reasons sometimes than because where's the camera go on the field? It goes right to that person. You don't see what everybody else is doing.
It's a show.
Yeah, it's a show, but I guess it serves its purpose. Slick. And it still works. But the fans, don't piss them off.
Mm-mm.
You won't go home.
I agree. They are some true fanatics.
Yeah, but anyway, Kobe, and it wasn't just Kobe, and sad to say, and just because if it was just Kobe, it would be okay. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. I look at death for me and things like this. I'm sorry, just because he made a lot of money and played very well at what he did. He's still at ground level as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm 100% disabled, combat veteran myself, and I've been to a lot of funerals, man.
Get you.
And my outward emotional response is not going to be the same as, oh my God, I can't believe, you're not going to get that from me.
Yeah.
I looked in spouses' eyes and had to tell them that their husband was injured overseas, and he's not dead. He's currently on the operating table and is going to make a complete recovery, but all they hear is wounded on the operating table. He's gonna die. That's all they're hearing. And so it's not easy news to deliver. So anyway, the only reason I say that is because it's not that I'm jaded. I'm not jaded. Internally, I feel sorry for his family. I hate it for him.
Empathy, yeah.
I know what they're going through. So I don't even know what the cause. You know what the cause? Have they even talked about what the causes of the crash were? Or
what I did hear something mechanical so far, but nothing big breaking about it.
So what was Kobe doing these days? Did he leave it? Is there, now that what's happened has happened? Is the sport have a huge gap in it right now that can't be filled, and is just going to have to stop playing b-ball until?
If I'm not mistaken, he was retired. He was not playing in the NBA now.
Right.
So
so there's no missing a step there, as far as that goes.
As far as actual playing, and I guess maybe what a lot of people around the world is recognizing him as a person, not only as a basketball superstar.
I can't speak intelligently on it. I will speak intelligently, but I will not speak intelligently about that specifically. I really don't know much about him. But from what from my own assessments, from a little bit, from interviews that I've seen him do, and not staged interviews, on the fly kind of stuff, whatever. You can judge, body language and everything else, but he seemed like above board kind of guy, you know what I mean? He was all well rounded, and I don't know, he wasn't like how some people have a negative outlook on professional sports players and bigger than life kind of stuff. But I don't really get that vibe from him. He seemed like a
down to earth kind of guy.
Down to earth, generally a decent dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's my official determination. He's he's a decent dude. But
Zen himself, by me not personally knowing him, I can't say how he acted as a family man and as a father, but the public interaction that he had, it showed a different side of him.
He seemed to have a certain level of respect.
Yeah.
Because he's, people like him or they don't have, there's no such, it's hard to get alone time, it's hard to get private time because there's somebody, paparazzi or, a fan or somebody getting all the business of where you go, and I can understand that, but is he going to be missed? Sure.
Yeah.
He's going to be missed, but.
Should you have a Kobe Bryant day?
We did. We did already. We did. It was come to Eagles Tesco's wallet and watch. Lord receive him. Bless his family, take care of his family. I'm paraphrasing the day. The day's a little bit longer than that. But that's the day. Do we need a Kobe? Like a freaking holiday? Nah. No. It doesn't. I don't think it warrants a holiday.
That's the question around the world. What makes? Who would?
I have my own opinion. I have my own opinion.
Man, we just straight talk two guys. I'm Anthony. That's Emer. Man, we talk.
Look, if we're gonna have an Anthony Day, Anthony had better do something that is that earmarks that day with. It's got to be nation changing. It's got to be. It's got the impact of you.
But you can't say. Well, Kobe, and when we just talking around. Yeah. Many would say that he impacted a lot of people. I mean, can you imagine how many urban children that knows the Kobe Bryant story?
Okay. I'm still not with you on that one.
I guess.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, but
Yeah.
it's not enough.
Impacting.
It's not enough impacting. Yeah, because guess what? His impact was based upon reputation, I guess. You know what I mean. His example as a reputation is an example. It's somebody who lived a good example. Get sainthood, get a holiday. I just think it's got to be more than that. It's got to be. It's like the Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor is the highest award that can be given for a wartime action.
Okay.
By a soldier, sailor, marine, whatever. Okay.
What are the qualities? See, I don't know. What does it take to get a Medal of Honor? I'm not
going to be able to quote them specifically, but there are several things that you have to meet.
In order to
usually one thing's for certain is that you are placing yourself in not just in harm's way, but the chances of you making it out of that harm's way is slim to nil. Because to be honest with you, most Medal of Honor winners receive it posthumously. They're dead when they receive it.
I get you.
And a lot of them, but there's some that haven't. But it was against great odds. Great odds.
I'm gonna play the devil advocate right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wouldn't you say that, man, it's against great odds that?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you right there. I can't.
That's not great odds.
I'm thinking of people who have literally their life is on the line, and they're actually stepping into a situation that they don't expect to come back from. That's not spending time with kids at the park or visiting fourth grades in your hometown.
I get you. He didn't lay his life wouldn't jeopardize.
I'm sure there's a fan out there going, "Oh my gosh,
Yes.
you didn't see that time when he rescued that cat from crossing the street, or whatever." I'm not saying he never did anything that wasn't brave. Okay, we're not saying that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I just I just doesn't meet the
criteria.
For me, it doesn't, man. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people that don't, and there's probably a lot of people that do and have gotten it. That probably, I still would say that it probably should come with a little bit more than that.
I agree.
Because here's where my experience is coming from. The Army came out with an award during the Iraq War, and it was called a CAB, C-A-B, Combat Action Badge. Mm-hmm. Now, the infantry soldiers, they could get a badge, and it's like it was a rifle, okay, on a rectangle background. Okay. Okay, and when you've earned that, if you haven't earned it, if you go into combat as an infantryman, when you come back, you're rewarded the combat infantry badge
because you've been in combat.
And now it's a wreath behind it. That's what the military usually does. It signifies that sort of thing is a wreath behind it like that. And but it's it's the only job that has something like that. Well, the military in its wisdom decided listen, we need to come up with an award that's going to encourage and recognize other jobs within the military that have put their life on the line and have engaged the enemy, whatever. Their risk is no less or greater than theirs were, right? Mm-hmm. So they developed this award called the Combat Action Badge for those who were not infantry soldiers that could be awarded. Now, the criteria was you had to either be engaged by the enemy or you had to at some point engage the enemy.
Gotcha.
So I was among some of the first to get that award when it came out. And, that was awesome, Mm-hmm. But it didn't take me long before the end of that year to go, this thing's worthless. It's freaking worthless because they were passing them out like freaking candy. Now you got we call them FOBs. On a FOB, a forward operating base. Mm-hmm. People that don't leave the wire. Whatever their job is, they don't leave the wire at all. And us door kickers and everything else. We're outside the wire, running the road, all that kind of good stuff. And because there was an explosion impact on somewhere on the other side of the FOB that they heard. you know,
that's
considered being engaged with the enemy because they fired. Mortar rounds are considered indirect fire because they're not fired directly at you; they're lobbed in. But you know, there's no criteria for it was 50 feet away or it was 100 feet away.
I get you.
You know, you see what I'm saying? It could be I could barely make out that dust cloud over there when it struck, but
hey,
guess what? They engaged it, so now I get a combat action badge. But it's more than just a badge. It's promotion points, brother. You get points for those kinds of things, and that go towards your promotion for your next rank.
Gotcha.
Now, how so now for me, the award's devalued. Okay. Now, when you think of the Bronze Star, you think about people being awarded the Bronze Star. Most people that don't have military experience are like, oh my gosh, he is a Bronze Star winner. He is a Bronze Star winner. Who gives a flipping crap? I'm gonna tell you why. What is a Bronze Star? It's for meritorious. Okay. Now here's where the catch comes in.
Okay.
If you're an officer or a senior NCO and you have done a fantastic job while you were deployed, you didn't get any negative evaluations, you didn't get in any trouble, well, guess what? You're automatically getting a Bronze Star for meritorious service on your way home. Hey, thanks for not getting in trouble. Here's a Bronze Star for you.
I get you.
You see what I'm saying? Most people associate the Bronze Star with bravery. Bronze Star with the V device. They put a little V on there for valor. Okay, that's for heroism. That's a whole different animal. You know, that's not something that you can just here's one for you, two for me, one for you, two for me. Not happening. Not happening. Because there's got to be so many witnesses, and there's got to be this, and there's got to be that, and it's for valor. I mean, it's bravery among in moments. So devalue it, And I'm going through this whole long story. I'm gonna add one more thing to it. I will never forget the day I'm at the famous Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq. And if you remember what that is, that's where that big prison scandal took place, where they were, abusing prisoners there. I was there when that whole thing took place. When the scandal broke, I wasn't aware what they were doing. I had a different job, whatever. But anyhow, I was there when that whole process afterwards. It was something else. But I had a senior NCO from my headquarters, my operations section, come to me. I was working as what they refer to as NCOIC, the non-commissioned officer in charge of the in-processing center for new prisoners. So when new prisoners would be brought in, I made sure that they got in-processed, they got researched, they got, went through their, get their shots, get their blood drawn, get their retina scanned, and get their blankets, and get their food, and get their blood. Yeah, process. I had that sucker run like a Swiss time watch, bro. I mean, it ran smooth, and people started noticing that. Because sometimes we had a pretty good influx of that place was a beast. But anyway,
I get you.
So he comes to me and says, "You know what?" He said, "We talked about it, and we really considered giving you an MSN, a Meritorious Service Medal, is what it's called. And you've already earned one prestigious award. I was awarded for valor, and you've already earned one really good award, and it just won't be fair. It just won't be fair to everybody else if you get two really good awards."
What?
I'm not in it. I wasn't in it for the medals anyway, but the look of shock on my face is not because, oh my gosh, you didn't give me a medal. It's because the thought process right there
behind it.
The thought process behind it. That is leadership in this unit. Okay, if these things happen through conversations, hey man, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's one person goes, oh, I'm just gonna, you see what I'm saying?
Collective,
right? So is that a collective opinion that we're everybody gets a trophy now, or everybody doesn't get a trophy now?
I get
you see what I'm saying? There's that mentality. So now, all of that said, a day? Did you get a day? No. I think the requirements need to be tough. You know what? Because when you earn that, when somebody earns that day, doesn't mean he doesn't get recognition. Doesn't mean we can't have like, you know what? Today we're going to recognize Kobe Bryant for everything he's done, blah blah blah, and we do that every year. But are we going to strike it up and mark all the, you know what I'm saying? Drag the fanfare into it. I don't think it warrants that. I like to reserve that stuff for.
What about the thousands of people that showed up at the Staples Center? I mean, in LA, that I mean, they feel Kobe a different way.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
I guess, yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, I'm just being real talk. Bro.
Yeah, straight talk,
I mean,
straight talk.
I think it's. I don't know. I have been around some famous people in my lifetime. I've met a few, you know,
well-known people, famous.
Well-known, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the presence of greatness a couple of times, you know, and I'm just not impressed by that, man. It doesn't do it enough for me.
I agree.
And now, granted, the example that they have led through their life may be one worth mirroring, and I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not taking that away from them, but does the merit of that experience warrant everything? I'm just not. I need more. I mean, don't come to me with accolades. You know, this, that, and the other thing.
Championship rings.
Or even let other people do that for you. Because my thing is going to be, okay, that's great. That's wonderful. You're phenomenal. I mean, athlete. Oh my God, what kind of man are you?
Now,
what kind of man are you? You know, what kind of person are you? And I'm not saying that he wasn't any of those things, you know, but I mean, that's what I want. I don't give a dang if you can play the game like you're the best ever could. But if you ain't the right kind of man, why would I want to emulate that anyway? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I get you. I mean, yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I get where you're coming from to say you just don't get high level of exoneration or, you know, uplifting unless it's something that's.
We need that stuff though, man. You know, please, I'm not trying to take away from that stuff. Yeah. We need that. We need people like him. We're always gonna have people like him. We will. There'll be more. Some more. He'll be replaced in a manner of speaking. Somebody will step up and, you know, fill that gap. But we need people like him
To give people hope.
Here's the best way I can relate it. Think of a support system for a bridge. Okay, you got to have, or I mean, I think all kind of examples, but the military. You know, a lot of people, you know, the infantry, the special operations. These guys, they're the spear. You know, they're the spear tip. They're the ones. You know, but guess what? They couldn't do nothing without support.
I agree.
Without them guys packing planes. Without somebody counting beans and bullets. You got to have that stuff too. Now, does that mean that it's less important? No. It's a culmination of all those things. So for me, people like him play that support net. Now, that's a very important position, really.
But they're just a part of a team.
Because they're part of a team, and they're bridging. You know, I see them as holding up the bridge. You know, they're bridging that gap, if you will. But you know, there's somebody who's putting themselves in a harm's way to make sure that this whatever doesn't happen, or, you know, I'm willing to not come home ever again for this reason. You know what I'm saying? I hate to keep bringing it back to that. But
I mean, I totally understand it. Yeah, I mean,
but that's how I
just
feel
by
about it.
being a good person, just by
he's a pillar of the community. He's a pillar of society. He's a pillar of all these things. Bam, man, broad shoulders. You're holding up the world, bro. Thank you. Holiday, I'm not so sure yet.
I get you.
Keep holding that, you know, because guess what? You're permanently engraved into that pillar. You know what I mean? That you will always be that pillar. History will never take that away from you, because it's
who you are.
It's who you are. You know. So in and of itself, you know, I would like somebody to talk about me like that way later on. Even though it's not as grandiose as a holiday.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. What do you think Kobe would want? What do you think?
That's an interesting question. Because how you put yourself in his mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to really get it there. But I mean, just your, you know, for what you think and feel. How do you think he would? So here I am, Kobe. You know, let me call God on the God phone. Hey, God, let me speak to Kobe.
What is he saying?
Real quick.
What is he saying?
Hey, Kobe. Hey man, you cool with a holiday?
Nah, don't let him have a holiday for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's, if I was in that position, that's probably the way that I would be thinking. No, don't have a special holiday for me. If nothing else, you could take time out to think and start processing life in a certain way. Yeah, of course that. But I mean, No.
Instead of taking a day off of work, take your son and go to the park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, get your family together and go do something.
Exactly.
You know, make it a point to say something nice to your neighbor. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, hey.
I even think that's more powerful, to be honest with you.
Exactly. That's better than
Because guess what happens with holidays?
they come and they go.
What? Columbus Day? Washington?
Yeah.
What do you mean Washington? What are we washing on this day? What you talking about? Is this the day we wash clothes? It's the fourth Saturday of the year already? You know,
I get you, man.
But, you know, that's just how I feel about it.
Around the world talk, man. Just round the world talk.
Around the world, man.
What's another topic? What's another hot topic that's around the world with people talking?
I don't know, man. You know what?
Oh, come on, man. Around the world. The impeachment.
Oh.
That's around the world talk.
That's an impairment is what that is. I'm not sure about the peach being there just yet. It's more like an impairment, you know.
Have you been keeping up on the process? Or?
No, I haven't been keeping up closely on the process. You know, and almost on purpose, just so you could ask me that question right there, so I could sit here and say this right now. I'm tired of hearing about this stupid crap. You know, it's the Russians, it's the Ukrainians, it's the the northern wind is causing him to make these choices that he's making. He's controlling the weather with his mind.
But your president, who is leading the country, he's making decisions. And
what decisions? He's making what decision based on what?
He's making decisions for the country.
Right, that's his job.
Based on his personal perspective.
Right. What perspective is he supposed to use?
Presidential perspective.
Okay, so you don't think his perspective is presidential?
From the evidence that what I've been saying, what's been hinted is he's making personal choices. He's acting
choices,
as a person,
more
so than a president.
Based upon how's it going to benefit him versus how is it going to benefit the nation.
More in a personal perspective than a presidential perspective. That's just outside looking in.
Hey, look, well, here's my outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wait till the jury comes back. Because how many times in our lovely American history have we watched politicians rally the troops for nothing? Let's create. They're smart. Insert combination of words there, and they know what they're doing, and don't let their concerned face fool you necessarily. But I'm not convinced yet. I'm not convinced. Is anything that they're saying compelling? Sure, there's some compelling things there, but I'm not convinced yet. You're going to have to show me, because there's too many freaking liars. There's too many freaking politicking going on. I want to see it come out. You know what I'm saying? I need tangible. I need something more tangible than just he said, she said. I need more tangible than the State Department's investigator so and so screwed him because.
What about first-hand witnesses?
Where are they?
That's, if I'm not, from what I've been paying attention to in the news, they have a first-hand witness that's willing to testify to what he experienced.
Yes. So, hey Anthony, I saw this guy down the street move that garbage can. He took that garbage can and moved it. I seen him do it, and I'll stand. Lord, I swear. And guess what? It wasn't him that moved the garbage can. It was somebody else that did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that's what's happening.
Yeah, I get you.
But so now I'm regurgitating what somebody else says that they're going to say. You know what I'm saying?
Now, wouldn't that be a difference if Susie May says she saw him opposed to Jeff the Garbage Man? And Jeff the Garbage Man comes by. That's what he does.
Yeah, I
he knows what a trash can looks like.
I see where you're going with that. Yes, and but it's still not enough. It's still not enough, in my opinion, because it's just like, come on, man. It's just like, look, yeah, I saw Anthony do that hit and run. You're like, bro, it wasn't me. I saw you, cuz that was your truck. I recognize that dent anywhere. And you're like, did I even leave? I mean,
so you kind of on what the blues song say? If you didn't find my drawers, it wasn't me. That's what it is.
Well, now
if you didn't,
all I gotta say is it wasn't me. It was Julie. She pushed me. But besides that, I just we have credible witness. Yeah, they're credible. They're very credible until they're not. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's get them into the courtroom. Let's get this process going. Let's not fanfare it. Let's not bolster the experience just yet. Let's let the committee look at it. Let's really pull them out and let's get their pants down. Then we can examine what they got going on. You know what I mean? And until we get that, I will say this. I don't dismiss anything. Just dismiss it like that. I think that would be irresponsible. But it is our responsibility to, if somebody feels like and feel they have a credible witness to it, it is our nation's responsibility to investigate that. And by all means, investigate the hell out of him. Some HE double hockey sticks. Go for it. But at the end of the day, let's see what that brings up. And it's legit, because how many times have we seen already in his tenure as president that the accusing party ends up getting almost going to jail because of something because they didn't portray the facts accurately. You know what I mean? They've had to resign the position because whatever evidence they had on them was irrefutable so much that they just I give up.
And I guess with the
it's happened too many times already.
The around the world conception is not he has done something wrong or he's doing something wrong. I mean, what is the conversation about around the world? What's the big conception about what's going on with Trump? I mean, what is he on trial for? What did he say? I mean, what are they saying he's doing wrong?
I don't think the rest of the world is looking at him like that. Because we look at him like that because we almost feel indignant because it's like he's taking something out of our pocket. If he's looking out for himself, that means we're not getting whatever it is that he's supposed to be doing right. We're not getting the benefits of that. Over there on the other side of the planet, they're going. The one thing I think is dangerous about him to our. You don't have to be enemies. They can just be whoever. Is the fact that he's decisive in his action. He doesn't hide it. He doesn't. You don't have to guess where he's coming from. You know exactly where he's coming from.
You know he ain't playing.
He's not sugarcoating it. He's not politicking it. He's not doing any of that stuff. He's just gonna. What did I hear a quote on him the other day? He made a comment. Called a guy called him a pencil penis. In front of everybody. That wasn't the word he used, but he said it in front of everybody. Was that appropriate? Presidential? No, it probably was not. But you know what? I have no question where he stands with that individual.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? I can appreciate that, regardless if I agree with his politics or not. I don't have to go, is that sunk? Is he lying? Or where's that flinch at? Is he looking left or is he looking right when he says it? I don't have to do any of that with him. So I can appreciate that. But come on now. The left is going to, when it's the left in charge, the right is doing the same doggone thing. They rubbing two sticks together, and oh my God, you see we got a dangerous fire brewing over here, and it ain't even sparking yet.
And I guess that's part of the question. What is Trump really doing wrong? And I guess
I don't think he's doing anything different than
any other presidents.
He just doesn't. He's just not
no
quiet
filter.
about it.
Yeah,
he's no filter with it. He's not going. I'm gonna do that. He's not concealing. I'm not saying that other people have concealed it, but they don't want to be under the microscope. For what I did. This is a decision I made, and this is why I made it. They would rather avoid the microscope. He's like, screw it. Bring your microscope. Let's do this. You know what I mean?
I can agree with that.
That's what I see from it.
As a whole,
and I'm trying to be as objective.
Straight talk.
Straight talk. He's not afraid to be examined, and that's why he just tweets whatever the heck he wants to tweet.
So he's not thinking any different than any other president.
No, I just think other presidents have done it quieter.
He's just acting a different way. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. We're human. How could you not sit there in a position like that and at some decision, at some point in your career, go, hey, that would really help me out, if things went this way. Whether it was that plane, how could you not,
see, and watch this.
Perfectly not.
And I guess that's what Americans would believe, that the person that they vote for will not do that. Yeah, how would you not? Because you're supposed to have a certain conviction within yourself that doesn't allow you to do that. You're put in a position to where you're not supposed to think of yourself before the country. That's because we voted you in that position because we think you can do that. I think as an American voter, hey, I'm going to vote. Who do I want in that position that will not think as a person? Who will constantly stay in presidential mode? As a country, as a people, we voted for that person.
Here's where the problem happens. If he's making decisions and he's included himself in the decision-making process, when it starts hurting the people and he's still doing okay, there's a huge problem with that. But here, now let me back it up a little bit. If he's making decisions that are helping out the bottom line, the bottom line number in our nation has grown. That's you can't
numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. He's done good with freaking money. He's done good. He's made us some doggone money. He's made whether me or not, whether you made it or not, is not the point. The nation has improved financially. Okay, our standing financially has improved regardless of the decision-making process. Okay, now, did he benefit from some of his decision-making process? He may have. I don't care. How is that hurting me? Because I'm still gaining as much as they can be gained by his decision-making process. He has helped the country. And he's making this. He's got a family to take care of. He's got things that maybe he's as long as it's not law breaking, you know what I'm saying. And his decisions do need to come last for himself. They should come last. But if he benefits a little bit from it, why do we care? That's the American way. When we start suffering because of that, that's where we draw the line. That's where I think we should draw the line at. But if he gets a little, sometimes you can't. Come on now, every president that's ever existed has gained from their position as president. Yeah, it's a natural side effect, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I mean, but that goes back to, as an American voter, I'm voting for this person.
Quit lying to yourself. Because Jesus has already been here. And I don't think he's going to be running for president anytime soon.
Not a person like that.
No, I'm not saying he's not a person like that, but who can maintain perfection?
I mean, you're right. I mean,
I get you. It may not be a straight up stumble and fall and bust your teeth out, but it may be a whoa, lose your balance and a little something. You know what I'm saying? But
I would rather the person have to wobble and walk a tight line than that guy that just strolling down there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think there's a difference in walking drunkly or walking with confidence.
I get you.
And I think he's got a little swag. He got a little bit extra swing. Yeah. Swag, But I don't think it's from carelessness. Maybe he's spiking that football a little bit there at the end of that field with the way he moves and the way he does, because he does like to stick it back in their face occasionally. And I wish some of those things he wouldn't do because it's not very presidential. But what? Here we go. So we better bring back Southern Bellways. We better bring back all these other Southern historical, traditions because they were so awesome. So he's not being traditional. And something, me personally, I like a president who is presidential to a certain extent. I like that. I respect that. But you get the junkyard kid up there running stuff. He's liable to backhand you.
Because that's
but you know what? I'm sorry, we're soft, man.
Let them backhand.
We're soft, you know. This is just, and it's my opinion, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Putin pushed doggone Obama all over the playing board. You know, I think Obama always reacted in overcaution when it came to Putin, and you know, because you know the
say Putin needed a smack sometimes.
That's what the doggone Russians know. That's all they know. Is a hard hand. You know, I hate to say it like that, and you know, Russians know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know, iron fist is they call they rule under an iron fist.
That's what they. I mean, I can. That's what you're used to.
During the Cold War, during the '80s, the position of the Soviet Union, their mode of dealing with us was officially was you can only push the Americans so far. When you push them to a certain point, look out because they're gonna smack the crap out of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm paraphrasing their way of doing business then. But they knew that there was a bite to the bark. You know, and we've gone a long time with a lot of noise
without biting.
And nobody we're like, ruh. I'm gonna bite you, dude. You know what I mean? You're really pissing me off, man. I'm gonna come over there and bite you.
Donald is that junkyard dog. He ready to bite.
I think so, man. I think so. I'm not saying he's perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The dude makes mistakes. Come on, man. If he's not making none, his name's Jesus. And he's come again, and what the heck are we still doing here? You know what I'm saying? That's what I got to say about that. But
I get you. Around the top world, it was all about the impeachment and that process of.
Like I said, it's an
impairment.
It's impairing my ability to pay attention to other things because this peach ain't so sweet right now.
I got you.
It ain't ripe yet. That's a whole lot of symbolism there, my friend.
The peach ain't ripe.
Drop the mic.
That's it. Well, that was around the world topics. I think we did a good thing on Alabama Talk.
Yeah.
We talked about some good topics that people in Alabama can relate to. And then we got a chance to meet Sago. Man, Sago's alright.
Yes, he's
got a different style. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. He's got his own little swag to him.
I want to see that all-female band. That's what I want to see.
Look, I've met one or two of them, and they're really good, man. They're really good. And I don't know if you noticed, but he was salivating talking about that, you know, because their music combined, you know, it's I think it's really
good
cool.
sign.
Yeah, and you only heard one song, "Tipping Around Town," and they vary so much, you know. There's some similarities between them, but you know, hopefully over some time we'll get to hear some more, and really check out his range. But I'm glad he came, man. I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so, which brings me to this real fast before we go on anything else. Tell us what you think.
Yes.
You know, this is also on YouTube, so pound that subscribe button, ring that bell, ding ding, click follow, click like, recommend, whatever. You look. We've been doing this long enough. You've been watching this stuff, this educational and informative,
diverse broadcast production.
Yes, there we go. Long enough to know what to do. So do that. Do that for us. We'd appreciate it. Leave your comments.
Please.
Whatever. As long as they're all the negative ones are pointed at them, we're all good. I'm good with that.
Tell us straight talk.
Straight talk.
Straight talk. No ice, no chase.
No ice, no chase. If you have any questions about that, leave it in the comment. Not everybody's gonna like that, you think?
Yeah.
No ice, no chase. So anyway, look, I'm gonna go chase some ice right about now myself.
Yes.
You down for that?
Let's go.
All right, we'll see y'all later.